Dear staff members, welcome on the seasonal end meeting of FAB. I'm sitting here today in front of our own Christmas tree in my own house. We would have hoped that we would have done a live stream at our faculty, at our campus. Unfortunately, due to the lockdown, this is not gonna happen, and we will do it this way. We will do it digitally from our home, as we all work now from our home again. And this is maybe not the way we would have hoped to end this year. But it also shows that in the past year, we have been able to transform ourselves to do a lot of online education from a distance, from home. Despite all maybe the problems we faced, we've done a tremendous job as a faculty to get this happen. And as a faculty board, we want to thank you for all your efforts in the past year. In this seasonal end meeting, we hope to give a really nice end to this year, 2020. And we hope that we'll give you inspiration for the next year. We've invited two speakers, Professor Jeniffer Jordan and Chris Zegers, who I will hand out the SOM awards for excellent research performance within our faculty. I wish you a very good season's end meeting. It's my pleasure to introduce Professor Jeniffer Jordan. Professor Jeniffer Jordan is a professor of leadership and organizational behavior at IMD in Lausanne. Before joining IMD, she was a Rosalind Franklin Fellow and associate professor at our faculty at the Department of Organizational Behavior. She's published extensively in leading journals on leadership and organizational behavior.
What can you do to maintain community during times of COVID? Well, I learned that your 4 values of the faculty are engaged, personal, down-to-earth, and ambitious. I think that's a great place to start. I think these values can be a great foundation for maintaining a sense of community, a strong sense of community that you already have. So let's start with engaged. Have touch points with people, check in, see how they're doing, even if it's super fast. It shows that you care and that you're thinking about them. Second is personal and down to earth. We know that teams or groups of people share 2 types of information. The first type of information is known as open information sharing. This is the information that is maybe known to more than one person in the group. Maybe it's known to everybody. And it's often not task related. It's not related to the task at hand. The second type of information that people share is known as unique information. And this is known to maybe only 1 or 2 people in the group. And it is often task related to why you're getting together in the first place. What's interesting, you're probably wondering, what does this have to do with maintaining community? What's interesting is that it's the amount of open information and not unique information sharing that groups engage in that predicts the cohesiveness and the trust between members of that group. In addition, we know that in the virtual world, people tend to share less of that open information. They tend to be more task-oriented, get right down to the job. And so if you're trying to maintain community during times of COVID, think about ways that you can encourage more of that open information sharing when you do get together in the virtual world. So think almost, what would you talk about if you were sitting together over lunch at the canteen or having a cup of coffee at the Mi Cafe? And lastly, ambitious. Certainly, one of the reasons that I was so committed to the FEB was because of the high standards that you maintain and that you have. It made me feel proud to be a part of that community. And I know that you still maintain those high standards, but sometimes when we're working virtually, we maybe feel less accountable to other people and it's easier to let some of those high standards slip. But keep that ambitiousness, keep those high standards, because we know from research in social psychology that people want to be part of the winning teams. They want to be parts of groups and teams that they're proud of. So don't let that one slip. It's super important for maintaining that feeling of community. I wish I could be there with you during this closing of the year, but I wish you all the best here from Switzerland. A happy holidays. Hartelijk bedankt for inviting me to be part of this day, and fijne feestdag.
Welcome from Oudega, Friesland, where I live. It's a pleasure to present to you today the nominees of and the winners of the SOM Awards. We have 4 awards in total: the SOM Research Master Graduate Award, the SOM PhD Award, the Junior Researcher Award, and the SOM Researcher Award. Let's start with the Research Master Graduate Award 2019. The jury for this award consisted of the SOM Scientific Committee, comprising the 6 research program directors, Rian Drogendijk, the Director of Graduate Studies, and myself. What we did is we sifted through the list of all our research master students and selected the 3 most talented ones based on a number of accomplishments. We looked at overall GPA, grade point average. We looked at the grade for their master thesis, and also at a number of other achievements like prizes, awards, and nominations. Based on this information, we chose 3 nominees: Guido Berends, Wout de Vries, and Amber Werkman. In the end, the committee decided to vote for 1 winner who graduated cum laude with a grade point average of 8.4, produced a thesis entitled Leadership in the Face of a Looming Threat, the Brexit Referendum, awarded with a 9. This person graduated cum laude and is now a 2nd-year PhD student at VEP. The winner of the Research Master Graduate Award 2019 is Wout de Vries. Congratulations. Let's then move on to the SOM PhD Thesis Award 2019. Again, the scientific committee members went through all theses produced in 2019, had a look at the quality of the thesis, looked at scientific contribution and output, societal relevance and impact of the research, and the structure and accessibility of the thesis. A requirement was obviously also that the thesis was defended in 2019, and the committee looked at the time it took to complete the thesis. This led to 3 nominees for the PhD Thesis Award: Joost van der Braken, Vincent Kunst, and Chengyong Zhao. In the end, the committee decided to award the PhD Thesis Award 2019 to an individual who published in highly reputed journals. The first chapter of the thesis was published in the Journal of Management even during his PhD. And besides that, 2 other articles were published, one in Global Strategy Journal and one in the Journal of International Business Studies. The PhD thesis was supervised by Sjoerd Beugelsdijk and André Horn, entitled Institutional Distance and Institutional Complexity in International Business, and the winner is now an assistant professor at the University of Liverpool. The winner is Vincent Kunst. Congratulations, Vincent. Let's then move on to the 3rd award, the Outstanding Junior Researcher Award. Here the committee looked at all individuals working at VEP who graduated in the last 5 years. The committee considered the number of publications, and especially, of course, the quality of these publications, and also had a look at other achievements like grants, prizes, and awards. This led to 3 nominees with a familiar face: Joost van der Braken, and next to Joost, Tom Boot and Milena Nikolova. The committee in the end voted for a winner who now is a SOM Fellow, has published papers in highly reputed journals like the Journal of Econometrics, Journal of Business and Economic Statistics, and an individual who recently won a Veni grant for his research on forecasting accuracy. The winner of the Outstanding Junior Researcher Award is Tom Boot. Congratulations, Tom. And finally, the Outstanding Researcher Award 2019-2020. The jury for this award was, as always, the SOM board. This will also be the last time the SOM board acts as a jury for this award, because the SOM board will cease to exist and will be merged with the FAB advisory board. So next year there will be a different jury for this award. The members of the jury were Raphael Wietek from the Sociology Department here in Groningen, Professor Jacob de Haan from the Dutch Central Bank and FAB, and our Dean Peter Verhoef. They went through the list of all the other researchers working at FAB, having a look at the number of top publications, the number of PhD theses that were supervised over the years, societal impact of his or her research, and a number of other things that have been accomplished over the years. The winner, this year's winner, has published 11 top publications, has successfully supervised 4 PhD theses, and is involved in the supervision of another 9 projects. The person has a very strong international network and a very strong international reputation, and is currently working as an associate editor for one of the top journals in our field, the Academy of Management Journal. The person has also obtained substantial funding, most recently by obtaining a so-called VD grant. He's been very active in teaching, also in executive teaching. Has received very positive evaluations in this regard, and is frequently mentioned in the media. The winner of the 2019-2020 Outstanding Researcher Award is my close colleague, Floor Inc. Congratulations, Floor. Congratulations to all nominees and to all winners. In the past, we had flowers and certificates and prizes for all the nominees and winners. We obviously cannot present them to you in the way we are used to. We will find another way to acknowledge your performance. For now, I would like to wish you a very enjoyable Christmas break, and I hope to see you all physically next year at FAB. Our next speaker will be Chris Zegers, FAB alumnus, and he will share his thoughts about his experiences as a student at FAB.
It's so funny. I'm Chris Zegers, and I used to be a student here at this Faculty of Economics and Business way back. Feels to me like yesterday, but it's not. It's been about 30 years ago that I came in this building. If I look back at those years, and if I look back at the situation and my time at university, I think the most inspiring thing has been the connection that I had in the last 2 years with some teachers and professors. It was the moment that in connection, I got the inspiration as a human being. So, of course, first of all, you are in sort of a relationship with each other, like professor, teacher, and student, and you're trying to learn, well, what's in the books, and that's what they are trying to teach you. But the thing that made me open the most in those years, that made me ready for the future, that for me was like one big black hole of fear, like, oh my God, from there on it's going to be less, and that's going to be hard and everything. You got to get trust. You got to get trust at the end of those studies. And the best thing that happened to me was to get that from 2 experienced men, in this case, men, that took me on a sort of a journey of the future, and that was done by connection. First of all, it was done with a professor that gave me risk management. It was the course of risk management, and he was advising me to read a book, and it was a book by Robert Pirsig, and it was Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. And I remember that we were in a workshop, and we were working on the book, on another book, which was just like normal stuff, you know, like analysis or whatever. And then he said, he closed the book and he says like, listen, you guys, you gotta read this book. And it was a book that gave him inspiration. It was a book that he read personally and gave him new insights in life. And he advised us to read that book as a human, giving that advice to another human instead of teacher to a student. And we were like enlightened with that moment. We were like, wow, he's giving us another book which has got nothing to do with the studies, but just with life. And somehow that opened me, and somehow that gave me a big inspiration, because there was a different connection from that moment on with this professor. Those years that I was at university, there was a big growth. There was a learning curve like this, because you learn as a human being. You learn as a student everything what was possible in your studies as an economist. That's a lot of stuff, and I enjoyed it. Next to that, you learn as a human being. You learn in a way of thinking. You learn to make contact. You learn to get into connection. And the thing was that those years that I was at university are always worthy. It doesn't matter if afterwards you're going to be working as a consultant, or if you're going to be working as an actor, or as a host, or as a fireman. It doesn't matter. Those years at university are super important because you are a human being and you are learning. So if you can find a way to make the student to open up for possibilities, to open up for his or her own life and own path, then it's gold. And if you can find that connection to reach that person, to make him or her believe in his or her own life, that is going to be magical. And that happened to me the last year at university, and it really triggered my life afterwards. Because when I finished and graduated here at university, I went to Singapore, and my life took a strange bend by coincidence. And there I changed my mind in like, okay, I'm going to restrain myself, I'm going to think in boundaries. It was just, I'm going to feel, and I'm going to open up for possibilities. And it all started here. That's for sure. So if you can make that connection, if you can find the connection, if you can find to push the button, go for it, and it will result in magic for them.
Dear staff members, I hope that you've enjoyed the seasonal end meeting. It has been different than we had expected. And we also know that next year will be different. And we look forward still to this next year. Of course, after this holiday break, we will start in a lockdown. And we hope that it will not endure too long. And for the next months, we still have to cope with COVID-19. However, there's hope. And we have to keep that hope. And we have to expect that things will change at some point in time. And that we'll go back to the normal situation we had before. I hope and I wish that in the coming weeks you can relax, be with your family, enjoy Christmas, and have a good time, although differently than we would have hoped for. And I hope also that we stand together, that we digitally so-called embrace together each other, and that we keep up the work, and that we continue in a good spirit in the coming year, making FAB a good place to work for and a good place to study for our students. I thank you all, wishing you all the best in the coming year and in the coming 2 weeks in your Christmas holiday. Thank you.